Hi, this is Blake Angelos from Yamaha here at Guitar Center with the MODX Music Synthesizer. The MODX is based on the Montage Music Synthesizer, and it has a lot of the same features. For example, the super knob, the macro control knob that allows me to do dynamic sound changes in real time. It has all of the same performance content as well. It has an AWM synthesizer and an FMX music synthesizer as well. In fact, the MODX also connects to a computer for MIDI and audio connectivity. MODX comes in 3 flavors. You have the 61 note that sits at 14 pounds with synth action. You have the 76 at 16 pounds, and then you have 88 notes, 30 pounds. Very lightweight, great feeling, great sounding instruments. The most important aspect of any keyboard to any musician is sound quality, and the MODX delivers. It has the same exact piano that I've come to love in the Montage Music Synthesizer. This is the CFX Concert Grand. So this piano sound, the CFX Concert, uses 4 parts. Each of these parts come together to make this singular piano sound. The super knob does some pretty cool things, and it changes depending on the performance I'm on. If it was an electronic music performance, say, that has a lot of synth stuff, it could be filters and stuff like that. As far as the piano goes here, it does what we call proximity effect. So if I turn the super knob all the way to the left, I'm right at player position, right in front of the grand piano. And you can hear that, it's very close. As I move the super knob up, it moves me away from the source. Now, it's not just reverb that it imparts to the sound, it actually changes some of the EQ. So it's not only getting further away and more reverb, it's actually changing the EQ, really simulating that proximity effect. As I move the super knob all the way over, I'm far back in an auditorium. But the main thing about this piano is how just great it feels and sounds to play. It's extremely expressive. If I play soft, really speaks at a very soft level, but if I play harder, it really gets louder, very expressive. Just an absolutely gorgeous piano. One of the cool features we added to the MODX is this rhythm pattern button. What the rhythm pattern allows me to do is instantly put a drum groove with any music that I'm playing. Touch rhythm pattern, and I have a whole bunch of drum kits in front of me. And when I touch one of those drum kits, it brings up to 8 different drum grooves that I can play with instantly. So as I said before, the only place where music happens in MODX is the performance mode. And performances can do a lot of things. In the first example, it's a piano. So up to 4 different parts can be a piano, but a single part could be a piano as well. In fact, I can play a CFX piano that's just a single part, like the CFX stage right here. If I want to add a layer to that, I have up to 8 parts that I can add instantaneously. All I have to do is touch on an open part. Now I drop into what we call category search. It's easy to find things. I can search by different attributes. I can search by name. Let's say I want to search by name and say BALLADSTR. That's going to be enough to find ballad strings. I've added string section. I have the faders over here. This whole control area has 4 knobs and 4 faders that do different things. One of them is just simply taking a part and making it louder. So now I've blended the strings with the piano. Now let's say I wanted to use the super knob to do that. I can assign that very easily in MODX. So let's say what I want to do is just use the super knob to bring the volume up. I can assign that parameter to this controller. So the first thing I want to do is just turn down the volume all the way, and I touch Control Assign. A dialog comes up and says, what do you want to do? Part 2 volume, activate the source controller to assign. So I'll move the super knob. Now I have that set here. I can control the super knob with a connected FC7 expression pedal. I can control the super knob this way. And blend things in and out as I want them. Now let's say I have an actual area where I have a sweet spot where I like exactly how much volume of that ballad string sound I want inside my mix. I want to be able to recall that instantly. That's what these scene buttons are for. Scenes are very simple. I touch the shift button, touch a scene, I've stored the scene. Now, if I have in the first position here, just the piano, I touch scene 2, the super knob jumps right exactly to where I want it to be for that ballad string sound, that layer that I've added to this instrument. Here's another single part performance that's called trombone swell. Now what this is a trombone section that has some dynamic super knob changes that not only change how loud the trombone section gets, it actually gets brighter. So there's EQ changes, there's filter changes, and there's obviously volume changes. So here's this trombone swell. So I'm going to build very quickly an orchestra. I'll add a woodwind section, a string section. I'll even add a timpani. I'll set the velocity of the timpani so that it only triggers when I hit it very hard. And I'll show you how to do this all from this main screen here. It's really cool. So the first thing I want to do is add the woodwind section. So I touch on an open part, and I like this one called 2 oboes and bassoon. So now I've added this little oboe and bassoon section. So with the trombones, so I can still swell in and out that trombone section. Now I want to add a string section. So I touch add part for part 3, touch strings, touch ensemble strings. So now I'm going to add the timpani part. So I touch on open part 4. I'm going to go to the name search and just type in T-I-M-P. And there's the timpani sound that I want. Now with this timpani sound, it's sounding all the way across the keyboard. What I want to do is split the keyboard, split just the timpani part, so it only sounds from maybe this C down. And then I want to change the velocity so that only the high velocity it will trigger. Right now, it's all velocities. Check it out. You'll see what I'm doing here. I'm going to touch the Performance Home button another time and get this view screen. You can also touch this icon in this touch screen as well. But what this gives me is an area where it shows both the range of where the note will sound, and I'm going to change that one first. So I'll touch the top range, touch the keyboard icon here, and just touch where I want on the keyboard to change that. Touch that again to turn it off. Now, it's only sounding from C down. The next thing I want to do is change the velocity. And this is cool. You'll notice that every time I touch on the screen changes and shows me another bit of information. In this case, it shows the velocity of the note that I play and where I play on the screen. And you can see the little cross. Now the last thing I want to do, I have this part selected, I have these control knobs over here that I can control things like cutoff frequency and resonance of the filter. There's 18 filter types on board this synthesizer, which is quite a lot actually. Pan, but I want to move down to not attack, not decay, not release, but reverb time. I just crank that all the way up for the timpani. So when I nail that timpani, it's a dramatic sound. So now what do I have? I have my full orchestra, trombone, woodwind, strings, and a timpani part. So there are a wide range of acoustic sounds, everything from pianos, strings, guitars, choirs, you name it. Lots of great acoustic sounds in here. But there's a whole lot of electronic sounds on MODX as well. It has the AWM2 engine, which is sample-based, lots and lots of sample sounds, but it also has FMX, an 8-operator, 88-algorithm FM pure synthesizer. There's also a whole huge range of effects on board. So we have this really cool effect in here that's called Spiralizer in this performance called Creeping Voltage. Creeping Voltage is a 4-part performance. Check this out. Interesting real-time control. And the thing I love about MODX so much is that it's compatible with a whole lot of other libraries as well. For one thing, it is compatible with MoXF, the Motif XF. In fact, it goes all the way back to the Motif XS. But the other cool thing is you can load in DX7 sounds. In fact, all of the classic sounds of the DX series and the TX series can be loaded into MODX. We actually have this cool app that's a cloud-based app that's called FM Converter that's up at our YamahaSynth.com website. And what you can do is drag in system-exclusive files from your old DX7 from the 80s, drop them into this cloud app, hit Convert, and it spits out a MODX file that you can load directly into this instrument. So the sound I have here is literally Brass 4 from the DX7 ROM1 cartridge. With MODX, what I can do is add a bunch of very deep real-time controls directly to the FM engine. If I look here, operator 3, that's called a modulator. So that's going to really affect the sound. Now on the DX7, you can only have sine waves in the operator. I'll select a resonant one. Now if you listen, I can really change this pretty dramatically by affecting that sound, that parameter here called resonance. So I'm going to touch Control Assign and assign that parameter to the super knob. So now I have the beginning of some cool real-time control. It drops me into this control area where I could look and assign different parameters to this super knob. So you can see all of the parameters that you can assign to control here. All of the FM parameters for that sound, part parameters, things like variation send, reverb send levels, things like that. But all the insertion effects, if I have an insertion effect applied here, I can automate all that, up to 24 parameters inside of an effect. So here's another performance that actually uses both engines. It's called FM and AN Classic Art. So I'm going to touch Rhythm Pattern, and now I dropped into my rhythm pattern area, and I'll add something like one of these trap kits. How about just this trap kit here? Let's hear what this sounds like. In the touchscreen, you see that I'm in the ARP mode and I've selected my trap kit. Below that in the touchscreen, there is envelope follower. So I've selected cutoff frequency as the destination. So what will happen is the drum groove will trigger the actual envelope of the cutoff frequency, and you'll hear it kind of move in time with the cutoff frequency of the filter. Just check it out. So just getting to the envelope follower is very cool. I actually have a performance that I've created that does all this. The other cool thing about MODX is that it is an audio and MIDI interface to the computer. So connecting to the computer, you have all of your MIDI control, but you also have audio. You can actually send 10 audio outputs to the computer. You can configure them as mono or stereo. And then you can return 4 back, so you can monitor back. The cool thing about monitoring back is this USB volume control right here. You can actually control the signal coming back from the DAW with a handy hardware control. Let's say you want to play a gig where you have virtual instruments, or you do a one-man band kind of thing. You can control the playback of those virtual instruments with this knob right here. It connects with one cable, so you don't have to take an audio interface with you to the gig. It's really slick, and it's iOS compatible too. Speaking of computer connectivity, you have access to SoundMondo with MODX. SoundMondo is a social sound sharing site that allows you to save and download sounds for your MODX. You can use the iOS app that we have that's called SoundMondo, or you can connect using the Google Chrome browser on either Mac or PC. Using Google Chrome, you can upload and download sounds to the MODX. So I spoke about the USB connectivity. We also have a dedicated A to D input right on the front, with a button to turn it on and off, and then a gain control so you can control the volume of a guitar, a microphone, whatever you plug into the A to D input. Sound, control, and mobility. That's what MODX is all about. So for more information, or if you want to play one yourself, go to your local Guitar Center or go to guitarcenter.com and check out the MODX from Yamaha.